Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Madam Liana and my friends. Today, my group will present about the budget 2020 of Ministry of Defence. My group members are Aina Najwa, Nurul Nisa, Nur Farah, Sharifah Sarah Najiha, and I am Nur Anis Suraya.
According to Hilton 2019, budget is a detailed plan expressed in quantitative terms that specify how resources will be acquired and used during a specific period of time. In the other word, budget also is an estimate of revenue and expenditure for a given future time of period, and it is typically collected on a periodic basis and re-evaluated. So for example, in Malaysia, usually the budget is allocated for a 1-year period. In this case, Ministry of Finance is responsible to do the preparation for annual budget, so that this Ministry of Finance will seek the information and the inputs from all the ministries to prepare the annual budget. So one of the ministries that involved in budgeting is Ministry of Defence. The Ministry of Defence was established on 31st August 1957. So basically, Ministry of Defence has its own vision and mission, which is the vision is to be an authoritative national defence leader, and the mission is to ensure that the management of the national defence is always efficient, ready and dynamic. So, this ministry also aims to protect the sovereignty, interests and strategic rights of Malaysia in order to establish a stable regional situation as follows as their own objective, where this ministry is able to protect and defend the interests of the nation, which is the core of sovereignty, territorial integrity and also economic prosperity. She is also responsible for the implementation of the national defence policy and the management of all defence affairs, as well as the resources allocated to the Malaysian Armed Force (ATM) to defend the country. Malaysian Armed Force of Malaysia consists the 3 branches, which are the Malaysian Army, the Royal Malaysian Navy and the Royal Malaysian Air Force.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Nisa Jamaluddin and I will present about the budget of Ministry of Defence. And the outcome of Ministry of Defence is to preserve the national sovereignty. In order to achieve this outcome, Ministry of Defence has come up with 2 programs, which is the first program is management and the second program is known as ready and operation. Under management, there are 3 outcomes, which is the first outcome is the excellent service delivery, second is about the local defence industry and viable defence research and development, and the third outcome is the welfare and socio-economic of ATM are protected. Under the first outcome, there is one activity to be run, which is the general management. General management has 3 functions, which are to ensure that asset and logistic management, finance and accounts, human resource development, ICT service, procurement management, and infrastructure projects are managed efficiently. Second function is to ensure that international cooperation is maintained smoothly, and the last function is to manage training and job placement program for prospective ATM retirees, including the ATM veterans. As for the second outcome, the activity run is the management of military asset, defense technology, and empowering research and development. There are 7 functions under this activity, which are to strengthen the national defense through the purchase of assets in order to increase the capabilities of facing the new threats, to enhance the competitiveness of ATM defense technology in a more efficient manner as comparable with foreign countries, and to tighten national security, especially any threats through the cyber security, by establishing a special department in each military force to review, observe, protect, and defend the national cyber security. As for empowering the research and development, the function is to enhance the capability of defense industry, companies, as well as research and development in local defense sector, to drive toward the ability to produce defense equipment independently through research and development conducted by the defense research institution, to enhance expertise in new technologies to intensify the military and defense fields, and lastly is to strengthen the innovation and commercial sector of the defense industry. Under outcome 3, there are 2 separate activities, which is the first is the management of the Department of Veterans Affairs, which also known as JHEV. The function is to ensure the management of retirement payment and other benefits to ATM veterans, such as living assistance, schooling, admissions to public university, funeral arrangement, and natural disaster are managed effectively, and to manage asset and logistic management, procurement and finance, human resource development, and ICT service efficiently in accordance with current regulation in force. The second activities under the third outcome is the welfare and socio-economic of ATM to be guaranteed. There are three functions of these activities, and they are ensure the welfare of ATM members who are seriously injured while performing the service that result in the job loss to be protected. The second function is to ensure the management of compensation payment and other benefits to members with injuries remain preserved to be managed effectively. And lastly is to enable the ATM member who cannot fight on the front field anymore to continue their service in other fields in the defense industry. For the second program, which is the ready and operation, there is only one outcome, which is to have a top ATM vigilance. Under this outcome, there are 4 activities to be run, which are joint help function, land defense function, maritime defense function, and air defense function. For the joint help function, it is to provide a professional and competent joint force and able to carry out all exercise, operations, integrated, combined, and multinational effectively and excellently to ensure the sovereignty and the integrity of the homeland is to be always preserved. The second activity is the land defense function, and it is to provide a modern, authoritative, and balanced army in defending Malaysia's sovereignty and its importance from external threat, and assisting public authorities to achieve national peace and prosperity. As for the third activities, which is the maritime defense function, there are 3 functions of it, which is to provide a navy that is competent and versatile and always at a high level of vigilance to protect the sovereignty and maritime security of the country. Next is to implement operation and exercise effectively and be able to establish a close bilateral and multilateral network. Last one is to produce the members of the Royal Malaysian Navy and quality reserve team in addition to improving the welfare and the governance to support the integrity and discipline aspect of Royal Malaysian Navy. The last activity is the air defense function. It is to provide a superior, capable, and always ready air force to highlight the strength of air power in order to defend the sovereignty and integrity of the country and its importance through the use of air force that is guaranteed responsive and effective. And that is all for the ministry outcome performance for the Ministry of Defense.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Anisraya. Today I will explain about the allocation of budget for the operation expenditure and also for the development expenditure of Ministry of Defense. For the Ministry of Defense, the budget that has been given is 12 billion and 500 million ringgit, while the actual budget is 12 billion 496 million 237,400 ringgit. As for the development operation, the budget that has been given is 3 billion and 100 million ringgit, while the actual budget is 3 million 655,200 ringgit. The actual budget in the budget 2020 for the first program, which is management, is 620,569,600 ringgit. After we are doing some alteration and allocation for other activities, we get 624 1,332,200 ringgit for the first program. For the first activity, which is general management, some functions has been taken up to other activities. Therefore, the budget for this activity has been reduced from 520,269,200 ringgit to 4,025,502,100 ringgit. As you all know, there are two new activities that have been created. The first one is management of military assets, defense technology, and empowering research and development, while the second activity is welfare and socio-economics of ATM guaranteed. For the management of military assets, defense technology, and empowering research and development, the budget that has been allocated is 97,011,700 ringgit, while for the welfare and socio-economic of ATM guaranteed is 1,518,000 ringgit. For the development expenditure, some alterations have been made under the research and development defense, which is the budget has been increased from 37 million to 53,344,800 ringgit. The purpose for doing the alteration is we are focusing on empowering research and development. Therefore, the budget for the development expenditure for research and development has been increased. That's all from me. Thank you. We will proceed with the next presenter, which is Sharifah Sarah Najiha.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sharifah Sarah Najiha, and I'm going to present Outcome 2 Local Defense Industry and Research and Development, Activity 2. Management of military assets, defense technology, and empowered research and development. The country needs to have a very good local defense. It is very important to make sure the country and the citizens are free from direct threats and to make sure that it is in peace and stability condition. For all other governmental action, local protection is important. Otherwise, a government will probably become paralyzed and unable to function and inevitably run the risk of collapse. National security is one of their key responsibilities. In order to make sure the country is in good hands, they need to work very hard and be very alert to what might happen next. The first one is management of military assets and defense in technology. The first function is to strengthen the national defense through the purchase of assets to increase the ability to face new threats. National assets must be in good condition and can be used smoothly. There are quite a number of assets that our military has owned. For example, we have Starburst for air defense, MD-530 for aircraft, Shiver Camcopter S-100 for unmanned aerial vehicle UAV, AV-8 Gempita and Mid-M for ground vehicle, and a lot more. The responsible party should always be aware of the current situation and flow. They need to make sure that the country has enough weapons. If the country's weapons are insufficient and inadequate, this will lead to various problems if our country faces threats or emergency. The assets of a country should always be maintained so that they can be used in conditions that require the use of weapon arise. In addition, it also aims to enhance the competitiveness of Malaysian armed force defense technology towards a more efficient comparable foreign country. The Malaysian armed force needs to be equipped with the latest defense assets in line with today's technological sophistication of defense system. The responsible party must make every effort to always be updated with the latest technological sophistication and weapons. This is very important for our country so that our country does not lag behind compared to other foreign countries. This can help those responsible parties to save and protect our country from various threats and dangers by the enemy of the country. Not only that, but our country also needs to tighten national security, especially threats through national cyber security. This can be achieved through the establishment of special department in each army to review, observe, defend, and protect the country's cyber security. The country's cybersecurity needs to be emphasized more deeply. In this advanced era, all national data can be owned in a fast way due to one's expertise. The responsible party must always be prepared and must be careful in performing their duties so that the country's secrets are not revealed to the hands of the country's enemies. Next is empowering research and development in defense. The main function is to enhance the capabilities of defense industry companies and research and development capabilities. In the local defense sector, protection research is more descriptive and needs to be more concentrated. This is because only certain people are allowed to perform their duties in this area. The example of material that needs to be well studied include war studies, tactical analysis, intelligence analysis, and study on weapons and cyber warfare, and others. This means that defense research is gaining particular interest in national security as it has gained insights into areas where society has no other source of expertise. The next function is the drive towards the ability to produce defense equipment independently through research and development conducted by defense research institutions. The manufacture of modern defense equipment should be emphasized if our country has adequate budget turnover. This is to prepare for the threat of danger from the foe. Research and development should be performed carefully and efficiently because we cannot foresee when the day will come. We should set an example to our nation in the defense of the establishment and great countries such as Russia, Japan, and others. The third role is to increase the expertise in new technology to improve the military and defense sector in our country. When research and development is carried out by a person in charge, it will become more reliable and qualified in his work. This is because an individual has been involved in the acquisition of new technology to be used in the protection of citizens and the country. Furthermore, as defense research and development can be done well, our nation will also be more developed and not left behind. The last function is to improve the innovation and commercial sector of the defense industry in Malaysia. By engaging in research and development, our country can introduce many changes that can bring many benefits to the country. This is because we can learn to develop latest and modern technologies, new strategies, skills, and so on. This method can also make a person acquire good creative thinking skills and critical thinking skills. This is very much needed in solving problems and also in making better technology. Good thinking skills can lead to the birth of new ideas.
My name is Nofara binti Muhammad Hasnal, and today I'm going to present about the outcome tree, which is welfare and socio-economy of Malaysian armed forces are protected. There are three functions of Malaysian armed force: welfare and socio-economy. The first function of the welfare and socio-economy of armed force guaranteed activities is to ensure the welfare of Malaysian armed force members who are critically affected while performing their tasks that cause them to lose their job and affected their health. When they have been seriously injured while on duty, not only that they will begin to lose their source of income, but they will also begin to feel underburdened as they can no longer serve for the nation and they will no longer able to support their families. Naturally, since they have a lifelong injury and are no longer to support themselves and their family, the mental health of that Malaysian armed force member would be affected. So if anything like this occur, the government should award them a service appreciation medal as a form of gratitude for their sacrifices and offer unwavering support to fund the cost of health care and their survival. Through this method, The pressure and stress on the Malaysian Armed Forces member can be lessened, and at the same time, the mental health of the member can be assured. The second function is to ensure that compensation remittance and other incentives to the affected member are routine and effectively handled by the management. Incentives such as health allowance and vehicle allowance will be managed by the management. As for the health allowance, the affected member of Malaysian Armed Forces will be given free wheelchair or crutches if it necessary, and also free physiotherapy care will be offered at home. In addition, government hospital counselling services will also be offered to ensure that their mental health is assured and not depressed. Surveillance will be carried out each and every month to ensure that the affected members are all in excellent condition. Not only that, if any of the Malaysian Armed Forces loses any limbs while they are on service, they can apply for prosthetic arms or leg and get it for free. As for vehicle allowances are concerned, participants impacted by disabilities can receive special cars for disabled. People with permanent disabilities make them unable to drive, and this welfare will make it even easier for them to go around. And the last function is to enable the Malaysian Armed Forces member who can no longer work on the front field to continue their service in other sectors of the defense industry, such as being professional coaches in training programs. The affected members of Malaysian Armed Forces while duty can pass on their knowledge to the new trainees by becoming instructor. In this way, the experiences felt by the members passed down to the trainees. The learning and training can be done more effectively. Thus, their service can be continued in the field of teaching, and at the same time can be devoted to the country.
Based on the budget that have been allocated, the Ministry of Defence can do various activities that will provide facilities not only to the members of Malaysian Armed Forces but also to the country itself. It is clear that maintaining the security and harmony of the country is one of the responsibility of Ministry of Defence. Indeed, the defence industry should be improved from time to time to gain sophistication to defence technology. Therefore, the government should provide various privileges to members of the Malaysian Armed Forces because they are as the frontliner that are responsible for ensuring the peace of the country. To conclude, all the activities in the budget above are related to the theme of driving growth and equitable outcomes towards shared prosperity.